there's a professor.
Just like everything in the world sometimes ties back into sports. So we're this week, the new thing that everybody's freaking out about is this Bad Bunny playing the halftime show. So I wake up this morning to a freaking headline about Danica Patrick comment that Bad Bunny should not be allowed to play the Super Bowl because he only does songs in Spanish. And if you're going to have the biggest American event, you have to do songs in English. People actually are going to Danica Patrick for freaking opinions now. This is a woman who a year ago admitted she had never voted until 2024. It's a woman who really has two areas of expertise. One, crashing race cars.
Yes, whatever she drove.
I mean, honestly, if you are looking for advice on how to crash a race car, Danica Patrick may be the leading authority of the world on that subject. But now she's commenting on culture, and her biggest contribution to culture was doing those dirty ads for GoDaddy that used to get banned from the Super Bowl.
Yes.
You used to strip in the shower for and I think GoDaddy's even out of business now.
I don't know if they exist.
Now that she's no longer stripping for the commercials. So when you talk about being crude and content for the Super Bowl, I'm not sure you're qualified to take a moral stance on that, Danica.
Seemed like a choice.
So again, it takes us back to the only thing Danica Patrick's really qualified to comment on is crashing cars. If you have like an insurance situation and you need to crash a car, Danica Patrick is your go-to.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubitz, and he's raring to go. Looks like it was a little bit of a rougher night for you, Lubie, than the previous one.
I don't know why you guys say that. Every night's been better than the last.
Oh,
yeah.
Not every baby is a nightmare either. I mean, it's possible. Maybe
he'll get there. Look, I've learned to take things with grains of salt in this whole adventure from last year to now. So
every day, for the most part, is a learning experience. I believe that to be true. Every single day. Now, the second kid, which I never had, but the second kid would have been a lot easier because the panic of the unknown is not there. No, where a situation arises and you just don't know how to deal with it, and you realize it's kind of like with a pet in some ways. Not to compare your newborn Luca.
Yeah, I don't get offended by that because my dog's a lot of work.
Yeah. But you learn how to deal with it. That's the
thing. Exactly.
You learn the characteristics of, in this case, they're talking about a pet, and you realize, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want that dog walking near me. That kind of thing. So the same thing with a baby. I mean, you really don't know what you're doing. You can plan all you want. My son and his wife are very methodical. She's very methodical about stuff and thinks everything through. And I think it's a similar situation you have with Shirley, where she's already looked up what it's going to be like. Funding, his college days, and probably already made some contributions there. Whereas I have a tendency to just fly by the seat of my pants.
On this week starting, he's prepaid already. Yes, a week old.
There you go. But I mean, stuff pops up, and you think it's major, and you're ready to take the kid to the hospital for the emergency room visit, and it turns out that he just had the burp. I mean, that's what goes on. I'm glad you're doing all right. I don't know if you've had a chance to accumulate much in the way of sports knowledge and or reaction, because we are coming up to some good stuff. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back in. That's what happened last night with the baseball. As the scene shifted to Seattle, and we do have a family rooting interest in the Seattle Mariners. Now, in general, I would not be rooting for the Mariners. In fact, I don't know why, I'd be pulling for the Blue Jays. I like Vlad Guerrero Jr. I'd like to see him showcased. He was 0 for 7 in this series after a magnificent, just pummeled the New York Yankees. I think he hit over 500 in the series, had a bunch of home runs. Really was brilliant. He had that all-out hustle play where he's diving like Greg Louganis in the home plate. And I remember mentioning that because you're thinking, isn't that great to see in an era where what is one of the biggest complaints? It really is De Niro in the Fan all over again, Lubie, where you just appalled that players with this much talent don't want to get as much out of themselves as they possibly can, and especially when that's exhibiting a lack of hustle in regard to not living up to your potential. But when we saw Guerrero diving headfirst into home plate, out legging a throw on a situation where it was debatable whether he should be going or not, you thought to yourself, wow, that's great. Here's a superstar. Hundreds of millions of dollars already in the bank, hundreds of millions of dollars more to come. And just for the love of the game, the joy of the game, he goes Pete Rose, as if he was diving into Fosse there in the All-Star game, and all-out effort, and you applaud that. It's always great to see. Isn't that not part of the reason that we watch these games, Libby? To see this kind of all-out effort being done by people that have superb talent and are capable of doing stuff. They make stuff look routine that we would find normally impossible. I don't know. Did you make a few great catches in your recreational sports lifetime that you might remember? I mean, stuff that stands out. You made a couple of good plays in your lifetime. I'm sure you did, Louie. Everybody has. And then when you exacerbate the situation by adding in the professional level and the pressure, and I mean, just even the sheer geometry of it, right? You ever try and catch a fly ball at what was hit like 400 feet, Libby? It's not easy, right? These guys are making these running ballet-like maneuvers to get to the fence. They crash into the wall. They pull the ball back. I mean, fantastic stuff. It's a shame more balls aren't put in play
Yes.
because the defense in the major leagues is unbelievable. Even if you're watching the Yankees, you might see an occasional good play. But more likely there, you're going to see somebody making a sloppy, boneheaded, Aaron Boone-influenced error, where you're asking yourself, well, what did they do in spring training? Did they just hang out at the elbow room? I mean, what was the old Yankees training in Fort Lauderdale? That probably was the case, right? They didn't put a whole lot of influence into getting ready in the spring. They would routinely be like 3-21 in spring training and then open up 10 by the time you got to the All-Star break in the American League standings. But anyway, the Blue Jays come back from the grave last night. Very deflating for the crowd. They got up 2-0, the Mariners, in the first inning on a 2-run job. And right away, the Blue Jays really started annihilating my man George Kirby, who also has a family tie, very, very indirectly. So there were many reasons to be rooting for the Mariners last night. They would have taken a commanding 3-0 lead. Series, essentially, you would have to say, stick a fork in it, would have been over. And now we have great intrigue, Lubie, going into tonight's two ball games. The Dodgers up 2-0 in their series over the Milwaukee Brewers, who are the best team in baseball. They're going to send Glasnow, who had a nice, credible performance last time out, to the Hill, and he's going against Jose Quintana, who had a good season for the Milwaukee Brewers. Are the Brewers in there with a shot? That didn't look good, did it? The Brewers series against the Dodgers. But neither did the Mariners and Blue Jays, for that matter. It looked like the Blue Jays were just being completely handcuffed by Mariner pitching. And this is not a stadium. Seattle is not a stadium that usually accounts for high totals. I think the underplayers, our man Troy West from Seattle, Washington, handicapper that we've had on some shows, real good guy. Routinely, I mean, every time I call him, he's like, I can't talk right now. I'm involved in an under here in this Mariners game. Because nobody scores there. Literally, I mean, nobody scores in the Mariners ballpark, and the Blue Jays put 13 on the board yesterday, Libby. So that was good. It was a blowout. I don't know how interesting the game was. If you like home runs, who's this guy, Alejandro Kirk? Have you seen this cat, the catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays?
No way.
You would swear this guy was Hervé Villachez. Comes up to the plate. And it gets into this annoying thing, which I've had it with that box superimposed over home plate that indicates the strike zone. Is that the worst thing graphically that ever happened on TV? It just makes you think that the umpires are completely blind.
Yes.
I'm not sure how accurate it is. And then on certain players, like Max Muncy comes to the plate. I don't know if you guys notice this. This is probably for Jim Sarney and his media critique column. It would be something you would read about from the great Phil Mushnick. But the box on Muncy, the strike zone, literally, you would think Eddie Geidel was at the plate. I don't know if you remember the name Eddie Geidel. That was the midget, that diminutive person that Bill Veeck sent up to the plate to draw a walk. I don't know if you remember this incident way back. Eddie Geidel, famous name in baseball lore. But his strike zone was bigger than what they superimposed on the screen for Max Muncy. Literally, it was like an ice cube size. And there's no way that could have been the entire strike zone. It just, I don't know what made them reduce the box. I know Muncy kind of crouches down a little bit, but and maybe he's not the tallest guy, but the strike zone was no longer in terms of the verticality of it was no longer than like 6 inches. There was no way that you could throw a strike in there. So I don't know how you feel about that. Do you like the box? Because the announcers always go, "Oh well, that one looked like it was in there." And I'm thinking that can't be completely accurate. How many pitches sort of just brushed the plate and then looked like they were outside or whatever, but in reality they actually crossed home plate at some point as they were going by the batter? Impossible to just boil that down to the simplicity of, hey, we put this box up, and if the ball doesn't hit the line, then it's out of the strike zone. And when you watch this, it just reeks of inconsistency in terms of the way that umpires are calling a game. Next year, what they're going to automatic ball and strike calls? Is that going to be based on this box? How does that work? Same way that it does in tennis with the Hawkeye.
So is that okay? So I didn't hear. So they're getting rid of.
I believe balls and strikes will be called by automation.
Oh Jesus! Really?
Starting next year, isn't that right?
I mean, I've never been against that. I know people are like, "Well, it's a part of the game to have a human getting it wrong 30% of the time." I don't agree with that. Like it's cool when you get the and they do the kick and they look like they're having like a seizure. But I don't know how much it actually. I've never cared either way. But when you say it out loud right now, I'm not gonna lie, it did hit me sort of weird that they're gonna pitch strike, pitch. Like there's no thinking. Because a lot of the times they'll get dramatic. If it's just a robot or just whatever, like how. I think it'll cut down even more time. Like it feels like
at what point is some manager angry about the way he's getting jobbed on calls going to go and just take a bat to the apparatus?
Because that's the other thing.
And put him out of business for a while.
Like I look, the Greg Maddux stuff, Levon for that series, that was ludicrous. But there was something to be said for everyone's strike zone was a little different, right? Like, and you worked a corner, you worked it high, you worked it, like if you were close, people didn't get mad if you got the strike call. To me, like if a pitcher's in a groove and he's hitting spots, like it was cool to see a guy hit a strike zone or hit a place and just baffle a dude. Like it feels like you're gonna, I don't know. All that has to do with baseball that is supposed to help. It feels like it does the opposite in many ways. Like the playoff stuff I haven't minded with the seedings and the wild cards and all that. And
playoffs were good. I found them wildly entertaining.
That stuff I don't mind.
I really can't wait to turn on the TV and watch this.
It's making the end of the season stronger. It's adding to the drama of the playoffs. So that stuff they've done okay. But with man on second and extra innings, like some of this other stuff they've done, I don't know. It just it feels like it's changed. It's made the game so hard to watch. Like you guys refer, you don't really watch baseball. No, that's not true. I watched baseball before I watched anything else. Baseball was my first love. It was the first to have a catch with your dad was what I grew up on. Like I was lucky to have my dad and I from like 3 years old were playing catch. Like I always had a soft spot for baseball. Even when I stopped watching regularly compared to the other sports, I still would watch it. It's hard for a game as slow as it was. It feels so. I don't know. It just feels so different. And baseball, it doesn't feel the same. And it feels like these other sports make changes and we bitch, but it doesn't make it harder to watch. Like baseball is hard to watch. Like it's really hard to watch. And the more stuff they do makes it more hard to watch, not easier to watch.
I'll tell you what's hard to watch. And this has been talked about a great deal, and it's going to come into focus for the first time this season. Next week sometime. I'll know when the other teams open up, if there are any games prior to, I believe the Heat's opener is Wednesday against the Orlando Magic of next week. The Miami Heat open up. Now, the Miami Heat, I happen to be riding around in a car, and the Heat were on the radio. I decided to check this out. And sure enough, they're playing the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta in a preseason game. They shoot, Lubie, 3 for 30. 3 for 30 from three-point range. Now, it's preseason. Maybe Eric Spoelstra, who's just named the head coach of the USA team, a national team, He's going to coach him in the World Championships. He's going to coach him in the Olympics. He's been involved in this before, widely respected. You would have a baseball bat taken to your windshield of your car before you left the park if you shot 3 for 30 from 3-point range. If there was a 3-point shot in your recreational basketball games. But
I saw that game, the score. I've been
3 for 30, Lubie. That's 1 for 10.
That's stupid. Again, like I've said, like I get you're not going to stop shooting entirely, but don't you slow down a little?
How do you justify a stat like that? 3 for 30. Now, Spolster could say, listen, we got to figure out who can jack it from the outside. And so we just kept shooting. It's preseason. It doesn't matter. It won't show up on our record. We're still 0-0 to Forrest. So shut your mouth. Can you imagine Spolster saying that? That's more of a Trumpian.
No, it's not. He says the opposite. He's like big on just keep shooting. Like that's it. He's like one of the guys that's all about shooting till it finally goes in, which to
3
me
for effing 30.
To me, was always find a better shot.
Like just keep hoisting them when you're 3 for 30 as a team. I don't know what individual stat would be glaring in that. Somebody had to be like 2 for 20. But who's the new guy they got? Is it Powell? Is that his name? The shooter that they got. They picked up in the
offseason. Norm Powell from the Clippers. Yes,
yeah. He was like 2 for 9, and that was the accounting for 2/3 of their made threes.
Guy's shooting like 20-something%. He's their best shooter.
But does it become unwatchable at some point in time where that's all that teams are doing? They're driving, kicking it out to the 3-point stripe, and the guy's bricking a shot from the outside. Have they turned the NBA into the WNBA? And will there become a time where the WNBA is a more watchable product? Boy, that's saying a lot, Lubie. I won't be around for that, but you might be. Little Luca, certainly. Imagine little Luca grows up and he doesn't even know the NBA exists. He just watches WNBA basketball because it's a better brand of basketball. That'd be crazy. Yeah, so that's right around the corner. Hockey's underway also, and we really haven't touched on that. The Panthers got off to a 3-0 start, won 3 straight games at home. They went on the road now and have lost 2 consecutive games, including last night to the Detroit Red Wings. I just threw that in there because it's always a challenge to say Red Wings early in the morning, Louis. How often does that come out, Red Wings? It's usually the case. Some sportscasters have stumbled. Shoulder surgery used to be one. Or you trying to avoid it? You're trying to find any other term to use except, well, he had successful shoulder surgery.
Oh, you got it. Yeah. Well, it's doable. Exactly. You have to instead of sometimes you'll just say stuff and be thinking about 12 other things. Like you have to literally
double clutch
down and just focus on
successful shoulder surgery.
You can tell when someone it's like when they're speaking Spanish and then they throw in the name.
Vince Scully.
You have to you can tell when someone's really focusing on a name or on a sentence because everything slows down.
Look, we still don't know how to pronounce Tua Tagovailoa. Well, what is it?
No, I don't know.
Lee Steinberg told us it was Tagovailoa.
No, and he said it wrong because everyone since him has said it totally different.
There is no N in there. And do you still hear people pronouncing it that way? But to tell you the truth, I still hear Tagovailoa's name pronounced 7 different ways. And I'm not sure who's correct. Do you have any idea? Should we ask him directly? Hey, Tua, how the hell do you say your name?
Well, we moved past that now because it feels like he's not going to be the quarterback for very, 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 very long.
He apologized, though. That was the big news yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
How much of a big deal was made out of that? You're talking to a guy who just lost. He's 1-5. I can make the argument, Lubie, and you will find this utterly ridiculous, and you'll be appalled by this as well, that the Dolphins are the best 1-5 team in the National Football League professional ranks. Is that not a statement that you could back up with at least a minor amount of plausible evidence? What do you think? They could be 4-2 just as easily as they are 1-5. They could actually be. I don't want to give them the Buffalo game because they didn't look like they were going to win that game, did they? Tua had the drive there at the end that would have done what? Would have put him into a possible tie when he got picked off. Where were they at in that Buffalo game?
The Bills, I think it was a tie because they lost by 10, right? I think they lost by 10.
So they could have been in that game, but I'm going to say that the Bills, for the most part, outplayed them in that game. So we'll count that as a definitive loss.
Yeah.
In there with a chance doesn't necessarily do it. They lose the opener. They get crushed like a grape against the Indianapolis Colts. That was a shocker. It was a shocker from both directions. Nobody thought the Colts were going to be that good. Daniel Jones beleaguered quarterback. I mean, you talk about a guy who they ran him out of New York. Then he signs with the Minnesota Vikings, ends up with Indianapolis, and you didn't even think he was going to beat out Anthony Richardson, who he eventually did put to the bench. And you had the feeling that, wow, Indianapolis is really throwing in the towel. Look at this. Their big star quarterback that they drafted with the, what was it, fourth, fifth pick overall, is on the bench behind Daniel Jones, a guy who is on the all Dolly Parton team as one of the big time busts in first round quarterback drafting history. I mean, he was no further along. Todd Blackledge had a better career at that point than, remember Todd Blackledge taking like 13 picks ahead of Marino.
Yep. That's his claim to fame. It's not his time in the NFL. Or, I mean, he's been a good broadcaster, but when it comes to the NFL time, it was that, wow, someone really drafted him before they drafted
Marino. Danny Boy sitting there from the University of Pittsburgh. Unbelievable. But so Jones, look, we thought that they were going to be awful. The Indianapolis Colts are mediocre at best, and the Miami Dolphins still, before they stepped on the field for the opening game, that there were still high hopes, whether or not that this team would be. I mean, I know some people were saying 7-8 wins. I really thought they had the capability of going out there and doing something like 10-7. No.
I mean,
out of the question. I mean, 10-7 is not asking a lot, is it? 10 and freaking 7. You're 3 games over 500, for God's sake, Louis.
No. Year 4 of this, not regime, because Greer's been there for 50 years. It feels like year 4 of the Mike McDaniel regime. You should be a playoff team. You were a playoff team the first 2 years. You shouldn't have gone backwards. All the money they put in to this roster, and it feels like it has way more holes than when he got there, to be honest. But no, I thought they'd be a 7-win team. They didn't address the line like they needed to, and I knew that was going to kill them. And I knew the defense had a lot more holes than they were giving it credit. Now the thing I am confused by is I thought by now Phillips and Chubb would be hurt. Both are healthy, but they're doing as well as they did when they were hurt. So that's been freaking weird. Look, if they could have beaten the Panthers, which they should have, they had a lead. If they could have beaten the Chargers, which no one would have expected, but they did.
There you go. There's 2 wins right there.
We're 3-2. If you're 3-2, then that shuts people like me up. If you're 3-2, then I'm like, okay, like people are excited about the Patriots. Well, they're
Patriots game. The Dolphins had that one in their grasp also.
But I mean, they're 4-2. So you're 3-2 is only half game behind. They're 4-2. Like, there's a lot of look at the Ravens. I mean, the AFC is not scary like we thought it was going to be. The Bengals are a mess.
No, and the Bills have come back to the pack.
The Bills are
the Ravens game that they won wasn't necessarily the bloodbath that it was viewed as, because the Ravens stink. So, and have given up more points, I think, than just about anybody in the league. If they haven't, they're going to have to be damn close. All right, enough of that. They're the best 1-5 team. Andy has the great comments here on the chat line. That's like being the most competent person in the Trump cabinet.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Who would be whom? I mean, who would be the most competent? I don't even know if you can name.
People are always like, because each week they have their turn of being this stupid one of the week. And people are like, oh, this is the worst one. And I'm like, they're all the worst one. They're all people that don't deserve these jobs and are doing very illegal things.
Unreal.
If we ever can get Democrats, or I don't even know what party people will be, but we get
is there a picture of Donald Trump with naked teenage girls in those files?
Oh,
I'm not here to answer questions like that. Yeah, you are.
That's clearly what you're there for. It was like Mark McGuire.
I'm not here to talk about the past. Well, then what the hell are you doing here, Mark? Adding instructions? What are you, Tom Umansky?
Exactly.
Going to break out a little tape here and break down how to throw a ball in from right field in 3 easy steps. 1, you cock your arm. 2, you just heave this thing. And then look, it goes right into that little drain pipe behind home plate. Another accurate throw from Roberto Clemente.
That would be funny if they did that in the middle. He's like, you know what? You're right, Mark. We don't care about any of this. So how's life by you?
How about some instructional bunting videos? Can we show that? You never bunted in your career, but we're going to go ahead and see how you would have done it if you were ever called upon to do so. All right, we have the trivia challenge. That's what we want to get to. Let's bring on Dave Gurggles Gergely before we take a little break here. And we'll line up people for the trivia challenge. There he is.
There he is.
All right, I can't make out the hat, Gergs, but what does it say?
Miami Lakes Golf Club. As a matter of fact, that's why I wanted to come on a little earlier. My new job is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm out on the course as the player's assistant, going make sure everybody's doing okay. So
What time you gonna have to get out of here? We'll get you out of here.
Yeah, well, usually I'd like to, I plan my shift is at 8:00, but I do this show
Smoke a
first.
cigar, take a little belt off that flask that you keep on your inside lapel jacket.
No.
You see Gurggles hitting just a little belt and then going there and betting those $3 all-turf.
Not at work. It's not a radio station.
No. Just riding around, talking to people, kissing babies, shaking hands. Make sure, hey, you're playing a little slow. Let the group behind you go through. Easy, good stuff.
Do you have a bullhorn? Let's pick it
No,
up.
I don't need one.
No?
Don't need one. I write up and personalize it. Then talk to them.
Nice.
With
At
an
what point do
initiation
you
of 10,000 and 10,000 a year. I'm not going to yell at somebody.
at what point do you get frustrated though with these club members?
I don't get frustrated in a job like this. I like being out there with the people.
Plumb bobbing when they're plumb bobbing on
No,
the
well,
green.
no, they're entitled. People take more time. The Japanese are famous for running like crazy till they get to the green and then taking like 30 minutes to read a putt. But they're not here yet.
That always frustrated me. Where you were, waiting for these guys to get up the green, and you're thinking, okay, I know I'm only 90 yards away, but I'm going to take out a 3-wood and drill a low line drive and just see if I can give somebody a haircut. All right, so we'll get to Dave in just a second with the trivia challenge. You can dial us up if you want to play. I think we already have some people online on board here, but you can break through. The random phone scrambler might put you right on top of the list. 954-417-0070. A lot of zeros there. 954-417-0070. So dial us up if you want to play. We'll come back. Dave Gurggles Gergely and a rapid fire version. We got to get him out on the course of the trivia challenge in a moment. Now that I thought that was a hat with a racehorse on it.
No.
It's 8:29. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. I don't know if you got the news, Gurggles, but Lubie, a proud father, Luca Panici, Lubitz.
I did.
He did. He
Galloped out a little bit early. It was under the cover of darkness, as they say, these workouts.
Pretty much.
So he's been dealing with that, and he's holding up really, really well. I have to say, I'm very proud of Lubie. I knew he would be a good father, and I believe Well, I mean, he waited a long time, and 42 is kind of late to have that first kid.
Kind of. 42 is very late, but it is what it is. He's here.
Let's see. When he's 18 and he's about 6'3" and he's dunking,
Right now,
you will be 60 trying to keep pace with this kid. How many points is he going to have to spot you in a one-on-one game?
Oh, good. That's a problem. Yeah, he'll probably be beating me earlier than a lot of kids beat their dad.
Yeah. Turning around with Jesse, I mean, it took a while. I think he finally got to college, and then I started to lose whatever I had. Gurggles was a great trick shot artist. He was basketball's version, and this is a trivia mention of Andy Varapapa, the great trick shot artist from bowling. All right, well, let's get into it. Never mind my trivial pursuits here. We want to get the contest going. We want to get Gurggles out on the course. And he says he's got the greatest job in the world. They're out there, sunshine. Unbelievable, and having a great time doing it. And you have the perfect personality to goad these people into playing a little bit faster. So 954-417-0070 is the number. And here we go. We'll dive right into the game here. The trivia challenge for either a Landlubbers or a Texas Roadhouse gift certificate. Here's Dave Gurggles Gergely in honor of the Polyman. And, of course, we love the Polyman. Great rendition there of the Luca Panici song. We're going to start the game in the traditional fashion with Gurggles and some
Easy baseball. This
I'm
major
glad
league
baseball question after all that, Gurggles. Thank goodness.
No, that's right. Paulie called me the other day to remind us it was the 27th anniversary coming this February or something like that. Yep, he's the best. I said 27 years. Let's see, if you'd have paid me $50 a year, well, we wouldn't be even yet, but that's okay. All right. Easy baseball.
Tomorrow, Gurggles. I think something's coming through. All right, here we go.
This major leaguer, on one of his many appearances on The Tonight Show, when asked by Johnny Carson to recount his career highlights, said, career highlights, let's see. I had two. I got an intentional walk from Sandy Koufax, and I got out of a rundown against the Mets in a spring training game. That was, of course, Bob Uecker, Bob Barker, Ma Parker, or Ensign Parker.
All right, rolling the scrambler. Here's one Mike Lubie Lubitz. And Ron is our first player. Ron, congratulations. You're on the trivia challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
A is correct.
By the way, Ron, over the last 5 weeks, I think your record and the Dolphins are quite similar with the Chronics on Thursday night.
But you know what? They are the best 1-5
team. Change that tonight.
That's the spirit.
We are.
Chronics are the best 1-5 team in the Lubie Trivia Challenge live edition. All right, one going for two.
All right, NFL, true or false? Troubled broadcaster Mark Sanchez, believe it or not, was at one time involved with then Desperate Housewives star Eva Longoria. True or false?
True.
That is true. Yes.
That's true.
They were showing all the babes that Sanchez had. They put it in the terms of banged. I find that a little bit unflattering and
yes, that's a little
misogynistic. But wow, he had his share. There's no doubt about it. 2 for 2, going for 5.
All right, the date was October 9th. We want to know who was the first president to attend a World Series game. Was it Calvin Coolidge, Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, or Herbert Hoover?
That's none of the above. It was Donald Trump. He'll tell you himself. He was the first ever to do it.
Could you repeat that, guy?
Sure. Who was the first president ever to attend a World Series game? Calvin Coolidge, Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, or Herbert Hoover?
Let's go Calvin Coolidge.
Coolidge.
Calvin Coolidge is the one when the Bears won the championship. They said, "Mr. President, we're going to bring the Bears to the White House." He says, "Oh, great! I love circus acts." But no, it was the founder of the League of Nations. Woodrow Wilson was that.
Right. I don't know that I would be too down on myself if I didn't know that, but you have 2 going for 7.
All right, let's go to hockey. 1974, the Washington Capitals played their first ever NHL game on this date. Well, not in this month. They lost 6-3 to who? The New York Rangers, the Detroit Red Wings, the Philadelphia Flyers, or the New York Islanders. That, by the way, was the start of a 37-game losing streak.
That's history. 37 games in a row losing. Wow.
Philadelphia Flyers.
No, it was the New York Rangers. I just want to give you a tough one, so tonight's questions will seem easy for you.
Well, hang on, maybe in the finals they're on, man.
Absolutely wiped the floor with Ron there. He did get the true false with Sanchez and Longoria hooking up. So he ends up with a total unworthy of being in the finals. It doesn't mean with the expedition of this game, the expediting of this game to get Gurggles out on a golf course, that he won't make it there. So you're never done in this.
By the way, speaking of Landlubbers, I'll be out there this Sunday at Woodmont Country Club for the Landlubbers golf tournament. And they're raising money for the honor flights, the ones where they fly those veterans to Washington, D.C. So great cause. Alex Sufreen, I talked to him this week. We'll be out there bright and early, like 8:15 on Sunday morning, which is
Sufreen was an adventurer back in the days when we used to come over and ride the wave runners. We'd take them out in the ocean.
Huh.
And I'm long past my Daredevil Jew days, and he would just like dive into the ocean there and climb right back on that thing, as unsteady as it might have been, and take off again. He was great. Missed that guy. Good guy, and did well for himself. So that's fantastic. Good luck at that golf tournament. All right, ready, I believe, for our next set of questions here. 954-417-0070. Here's Dave with our next set.
Boxing. This boxing champ on why life was good after boxing summed it up thusly. I got it made. I got a wife and a TV set, and they're both working. What's that? Great. Willie Pep, Joe Pepitone, Frank Malzone, or Sly Stallone?
All right, roll the scrambler, Lubie. And it lands on George. George, you're up on the trivia challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Defo.
Hey, good to have you on board, my friend. Thanks for checking in. You have 1 point. You're in the game.
All right, George. Hockey, true or false? The Panthers' second championship rings, distributed Tuesday, October 7th, not only had 2 Stanley Cups on the front, but there is room on this ring for a 3rd Stanley Cup. True or false?
Oh, that's true.
False.
Yeah, that's false.
False, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
A weird one, yeah.
That would be a little presumptuous.
Taking us all back to the jeweler also. All right, 2 for 2, going for 5.
All right, NFL, George. Which team in this year's NFL season was the last one to cause a turnover? The Titans, the Bengals, the Jets, or the Giants?
Jesus.
The Jets.
Jets, right?
Well done, George.
Yeah.
Versus the Dolphins.
Here we go. A chance for the sweep.
Yeah, this is impressive for us, for sure.
Nice.
Now, this is a tough one. Who is the only player in Major League Baseball history to hit a home run on his birthday in a World Series game?
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of
Dick
qualifiers.
McAuliffe, Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt, or Willie Mays Aikens?
Wow.
Let's go with Schmidt.
Schmidt.
No, it was actually against Schmidt. Willie Mays Aikens did it for Kansas City versus the Phils in 1980. But that's still a good score.
I can guarantee you'll be in the finals because I don't think we're playing more than 3. So
Still a
hang
good
around.
score.
Call back when you're in the finals, George. Thanks.
Okay, George with 5 points. So let's play another one here.
While he's digging somebody up, the perfect thing for Mike, and I'll think of you Sunday. I know you're a health nut.
No, and I'll say this before you get into it. Mike Mayo already gave me a Perdomo.
Terrific. Good.
Because he knows good things.
I'll have one Sunday in your honor while I'm out there at Woodmont, and you don't have to be on the golf course. You can go to 5150 Northwest 167th Street, get your own Perdomo cigars. 305-627-6700, the number to call. Go see Nick, go see Bruce, the concierge, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., whether it's a mild La Tradicion or a full-bodied 20th anniversary, they make them perfect one at a time. So go see Perdomo, and when the Brewers even get back in the series tonight, put something great in your mouth with a Perdomo cigar.
Very nice.
And to celebrate little Lukey.
Universal all over the place. Perdomo cigars among the most highly regarded anywhere in the universe. I never was really a cigar guy, but you can tell quality, and you can always tell by the nature of the people that are behind a product, whether or not that product is going to be worthwhile. And Perdomos, as you've alluded to many times, and I still will never forget, I can envision when I ran into Nick Perdomo.
On the airplane.
Yeah, on the airplane coming back from Vegas. And there he was. It couldn't have been any sweeter of a guy.
And when the Marlins won under Jack McKeon, we sent him a box of Perdomo cigars, and he sent us a thank you note.
Very nice. Very nice. No, and Trader Jack would puff on a cigar right there in the
Oh,
dugout.
yeah.
I mean, He was like Red Auerbach with cleats. All right, let's play another one and see if we can't get some more terrific totals here. We do have George with 5 points. He's sitting or standing by, getting ready to go to the finals. We'll see if this next player makes it. Here's Dave, our next set of questions.
And this could apply to the Miami Heat that you talked about. Hoops. This college coach assessing his team's ability said, "We have a great bunch of outside shooters. Unfortunately, all our games are played indoors." Weldon Drew, Nancy Drew, Drew Carey, or Maria Carey?
Roll it, Lubie. There we go. Mike Lubie Lubitz finding our next player here on the show. And it's only fitting. It ends up with the man with the longest streak of sweeps, I think, in show history, 27 years worth. Here's Andy. Andy, man, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Long time listener, first time caller. I go with A.
A is
Buenas
correct.
suerte, senor.
Yeah.
Golf, true or false? 83-year-old James Noonan, legally blind due to macular degeneration, scored a hole-in-one at Atlantic Country Club. But as a matter of fact, this is Noonan's second hole-in-one, the first one 12 years ago at Waverly Oaks Golf Club. True or false?
False.
No, that's true.
That's true. All right. Sounded like something you couldn't have made up. All right, going for 4 points here, Andy.
Okay, Andy, baseball history. Only once in World Series history did the home team lose every game it happened between these two teams. Which two teams were it? The Giants-Yankees, Cardinals-Yankees, Nationals-Astros, or Dodgers-Indians?
National Astros.
That's right. Well done.
Well nice job. Thought that out a little bit, either that or Googled it real quick, although Andy is not inclined.
No,
to use,
he's on the phone.
Yeah, illegal measures there. All right, going for 9 points here. You're already in the finals. Here we go. You'll be the top seed if you get this one right.
All right, on this date in 2004, believe it or not, 17-year-old Lionel Messi made his league debut in a 1-0 game against crosstown rivals at the Estadio Olimpia Luis Companies Stadium. What team did he play for? Real Madrid, España Nacional, FC Barcelona, or Modelo Especial?
I'll go with the second one you said.
España Nacional, no. And it wasn't Modelo Especial, no. It was FC Barcelona.
All right, well, hang on, Andy.
All right, you're in there, Andy. You're in the finals here. So congratulations. We're going to play Andy and George for the championship here of today's edition of the Trivia Challenge. And once again, where do you find Perdomo Cigars? Because it's a holiday season coming up also, Gurggles. Let's not forget about that.
Holiday season.
I mean, do they do gift cards? How does that whole operation work with that?
Yeah, they do. They do gift cards. They do anything you want at Perdomo Cigars. You don't need a season. You don't even need a reason. Just go to Perdomo Cigars at 5150 Northwest 167th Street. We're going to open November 1st to the general public. Now it's just members here. And I just picked up 2 boxes for our pro shop of Perdomo Cigars. 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto, just a little bit south of the Home Depot. A little bit east of Home Depot on the south side of the street. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go see Nick Jr. and congratulate Nick Jr. He's become a father too, just like Mr. Lubitz there. So 305-627-6700 is the number to call. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So when the Brewers get back in it tonight, light up with a Perdomo cigar.
It reminded me when you said 'tis the season. Were the Zombies among the most underrated rock groups?
Oh, yeah. I like the Zombies.
She's Not There, Time of the Season.
Yep.
2 great songs. I don't know what else their body of work included, but those 2 hits alone put them up there. Had a great sound to them, very unique sound for the time that they were performing. All right, the finals are set. George versus Andy. Here's what's going to happen. Gurggles is going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. The first person to call out his name gets first chance, and we go back and forth until we have a winner. Here we go for the championship. We got those rules, by the way, from Rob Manford when he was updating the rules for extra innings. Came out of the same conceptual think tank. Here we go for the championship. Here's Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Best of luck, both gentlemen. Let's go to baseball, World Series. New York Yankees losing a World Series, fired their manager, Yogi Berra, one day after losing the World Series, and then hired whom?
Oh, wow.
Johnny Keane, Andy, Johnny Keane.
That's it, Johnny
There you
Keane,
go.
the opposing manager from the Cardinals. Well done, Andy.
Sorry, George.
George, we jumped the gun on you, but thanks. And play next week.
George,
Play
I'll play
next week,
I wasn't
George.
born, man.
I know.
I wasn't even born.
We'll get you in there, George. Thank you, my friend.
You weren't even born. Well, if I asked you what year the War of 1812 was fought, you'd probably get that one. Gentlemen, I got to go out to the course. Mike, congratulations.
George, thank
Little
you.
rookie. Jeff, we'll see you out at the Oval.
Okay, sounds good. Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, Andy. George, nice try. I mean, he didn't get a chance there. Johnny Keane. Wow.
Go.
I don't even think I would have got that with the choices.
I'm a fan of my teams, but I don't know if I remember things. I mean, like, because when you go through
I remember
the
Johnny Keane as a Cardinal manager, and I don't.
No, but that's the thing. Like the Yankees, because I say the Dolphins, because didn't the Yankees at one point were like, if you're firing a Yankee legend after being in the World Series,
Yogi never got over that. I mean, I guess he finally made amends with Steiny.
Like you're going through coaches. Like I know the Dolphins coaches, but even I have to think for a second. The fact that Andy knew that like that.
Oh, he fired that right off.
Jesus.
See, that's the beauty of being knowledgeable in trivia, though. That's what we're looking for, and that's why the show's persisted for now going almost to 27 years. Although it's interesting because Eric Brandon kept catching up to us like 3 years at a time. Remember when we had the show on before when we were on the radio? And Brandon would go from like, well, we've been on 13 consecutive years. And we were at like 25. So we were way ahead of the guy. And then like half a year would go by. And, well, we've been on the air 17 consecutive years. Oh, wait a minute, man. It's only a matter of time before you catch us. And I guess from the radio standpoint, he probably has surpassed us since it's been about 4 years since we've been doing that. All right, Louie, a lot of college football coming up over the weekend as well, including tomorrow night. I'm looking at some handicapping grids here, Lubie, as I'm trying to figure out which way to go with a couple of games myself. Miami and Louisville, they have, I believe, 7 handicappers in this grid from the New York Post. And we have Miami, Louisville, Miami, Miami, Louisville, Miami, Miami. So the majority, 5 out of 7, are picking Miami to cover the spread. This guy went totally south. I think we had him on the show a couple of times when he was on what was beyond a miraculous run of picking college football games. I thought this guy is the greatest handicapper that I've ever seen in the history of the world, a guy named Howie Kasoy in the New York Post. Young guy, although I think they're still using the same thumbnail picture of him that they were 20 years ago because he couldn't possibly look the same. Nonetheless, he compiled an amazing record over the first few years that he was doing this, and now they allude to it because they have to cover up for the fact that he has literally left a stench on the pages of the New York Post. And now, not that he isn't competent, but what happens when you lose your acumen for picking winners, Lubie? I mean, we're talking Ace Rothstein here at the beginning, and now all of a sudden this guy can't pick his nose. On the season in college football, against the spread, so we have to factor that in, 43-62 as the number one handicapper of college football in the New York Post. 21 units under 500.
Oh, that's rough.
Now, you factor in the VIG on that? Oh, my God, Louie. Crushed like a grape.
It's insane.
So should we buy it? He actually says, and a lot of people do, take the points with Louisville in this game. I don't know how you feel about that. Are the Canes 2 touchdowns better than the Louisville Cardinals? The Cardinals are not inept in terms of scoring, and they do. I'm not sure what
one team.
Yeah, what level of distinction is it to be the best defensive team statistically in the ACC?
I mean, it's big because Miami's considered the best defense in the country. So if Louisville somehow is better than Miami in the conference, and that's actually a big deal. And again, like I've talked about, Miami hasn't faced a lot of strong offenses. They faced Notre Dame, which is okay offensively. They faced FSU, which nationally ranks high, but has struggled the last 3 weeks offensively. So if Louisville can be smart, because that's the other thing too, is they get a lot of breaks on turnovers. If Louisville can be smart with the ball, I think it'll be a close game. If it was on the road, I'd actually pick Louisville to win. Being at home, and I know the Rock, when it's not like FSU or a top 10 team, isn't the toughest.
This place will be half empty, no doubt.
It's not the toughest place to play, but it's still a home thing, a home crowd. They are top 3 in the country, so maybe they'll actually get some people there. I don't know. Because of that, I even with that spread, Miami's shown that they can pull away sort of or hold on ish. So I would pick Miami being at home, but I don't think it's going to be a romp.
13 and a hook. That's what you're
Yeah,
giving up.
I'd pick Miami. I think they can win by 14 or more. I don't think it's going to be a romp. Like, I think you're going to have some.
We were getting 17 and a half with South Florida. That wasn't enough. And they were coming off that win over the Florida Gators. And they've been fine ever since. Here are a couple of things. And with all due respect to our dear friend and a great guy, and I would have to say sometimes you have a philosophy that is directly contrary to another person. And yet you can. I know this used to happen in the past, and maybe it does on the sports. Obviously, it's not happening in the political landscape, where you can have the utmost of respect for what the other person is purveying and professing. Like in the case of Mark Lawrence, I don't give. I mean, I should maybe. I don't know. How much credibility do you give to trends? Because the only trend that really seems to matter to me is recent head-to-head matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe common opponents you can take a look at. But all this business that tracks back to like 1929 when Al Hudson was playing cornerback for the University of Miami and running back that touchdown pass that he had in the Orange Bowl. What was it? They won the Orange Bowl against like Holy Cross 7-0. And our friend Al Hudson, former jockey agent, that's how I met him. I didn't even know he played football. What was the hero of an Orange Bowl game? It's this guy. He represented the jockey Jose Velez Jr., who was a very prominent jockey here in South Florida for some time. But I don't know. I mean, how much credibility do you attach to trends?
No, we've talked about it. When Lauren's like, well, they haven't beaten them in 40 years. I'm like, I don't care what happened in 1971. They
have a new stud quarterback. It changes everything, right?
That I don't care about. But if you're talking about, like you said, recent trends in the sense that Mario Cristobal doesn't blow anyone out, that Mario Cristobal finds a way to keep teams in it or allow teams back in. That is a trend that I do think matters. And I do think I've said, look, to me, it's annoying that FSU got down because, and I said that day, it wasn't that the guy, people were like, oh, it's 21 to whatever. I didn't care that it was 21. You couldn't get to 28. You couldn't get to a point where it was going to be 3 scores in a quarter because you could score 3 scores in a quarter, but you needed that to win. So it's what it seems to do. I mean, he did it at Oregon too. He did it he did it at FIU. Like when I was complaining, I'm like, he doesn't blow. He was close in all these games. They're like, well, Mario respects the game too much. He doesn't blow teams away. Like, that's a load of garbage.
No, that's
from what I've heard is a used car salesman. Like, it's not about that at all. Is he scared to death of losing, so he ends up almost losing? It's very Wannstedt-esque. It's very counterproductive to being a dominant force, which is what he supposedly expects to be at UM. If you can keep this team close, I go with the other coach every time.
Sports like sex, Lubie, is a rhythm thing.
Yes.
Rhythm. I mean, you're with a first-time starter. She's totally out of sync with everything that you like to do. Mm-hmm. She's doing the cha-cha. You're doing the rumba, and it's awkward, man. It can even be painful.
Great at sex. 2 people are great at sex in their whole life, but you just may not work together. It is what it is. Like, rhythm is everything. And in sports, once you turn it down, it's so hard to turn it back up.
Exactly. Once you turn it off, it's hard to turn it back on, and we've seen this many. It's kind of like one of those games now that you see a more commonplace in the NBA, where the starters are lifted and the scrubs come in, and the 25-point lead dissipates, and it gets down to 6. Now you bring the starters back in, but the other team has all the mo on their side.
Yep.
And you now have to regenerate when you've already been kind of relaxing. You're already thinking about whatever it is that you're going to do after the ball game, who you're going to meet, who you have to take care of. And now you're back out there on the floor, and you have to try and replicate what you did that built up that big lead. This is the single biggest knock I have. Well, no, it's not the single biggest knock. I mean, some of the just outright being mystified by the situation strikes you about Cristobal. It seems like we spend an inordinate amount of time talking about this, but here's what I wrote down in terms of trends. Louisville has played 25 straight games without a 2-touchdown loss. They have traded, the 2 teams have traded 7-point wins the last 2 years. Each team has won by 7. The Louisville Cardinals have the ACC's top defense. They average 32 points a game. So does that suggest they're going to be in this thing? This will be impressive. If Miami blows out Louisville, will we not change our opinion a little bit about where they're at right now?
Yeah,
this is sort of phase 2 of their season that's getting on.
Look, I've already said this is different than last year, and I was very tough on them last year, and I'm tough on them this year. I still expect them to lose a game or 2, But last year, I expected them to lose 3 or 4, and they actually did. So I wasn't wrong. They are a different team. They are playing differently. They have the same coach. So every time they do something we don't think they can do, I'll give them more credit. They have gotten to this far. They played a tougher schedule, and they won all their games. That is a definitely check mark, and this is a new, different Miami team. I can't fight that. But there's still a lot more check marks to go, and this would be a big one. This would be a better team after you've laid claim. You had a bye. Very much what FSU was after the Bama game, right? Like, can you stay hungry and angry when it's quote unquote lesser? There's no number next to Louisville's name. This is not what UF was. It's not what USF was. This is not what FSU was. This is not a natural rival. There is no built-in motivation for it, but except we want to win a title. That's what the motivation is. We want to get our first.
We'll see if they can turn that on. Yes.
So this game will not tell you everything, but another mark. Like, okay, good for you, Mario. Good for you.
All right, so these were my notes. So once again, 25 straight games without a 2-touchdown loss. I'm not sure how much to attach to that. They could get blown out here. Talking about Louisville versus Miami. Yeah. They did trade 7-point wins in the last 2, so there's something to be said for Louisville not bowing down to the logo that's on the helmets there. Oh, these Hurricanes are too much for us.
No, they're game.
Living daylights out of them. They're ACC's top defense, which is good in terms of trying to encourage people to take the 13 and a hook. And they're scoring 32 points a game, so it's not like they have an inept offense like the Florida Gators displayed against the University of Miami. Yes. And then in giant capital letters, I wrote as the most important criteria to consider when laying 13.5 with Miami, the Cristobal factor. And I think that has to factor into this equation.
Yes. Look, I mean, yes.
Up 3 touchdowns, little backdoor cover there. Maybe they got
it. Almost covered that game.
Threatened late.
Like, the fact that FSU,
how did FSU
covered that game?
A 4-point stinking spread. Mario. That should have been. Where's Al Lombardo when you need him at these press conferences after the game?
I'm not confident in picking Miami in this, but it's like being at home. They do have
your first instinct is to say Miami wins the game, of course.
Yeah. No, but even the cover.
And at home on a Friday night, I don't know. Have they created that sort of special feeling that they had going back to the late 80s, early 90s?
They want you to think they have. Ruben Bain Jr. wants you to think they have. We'll see. I will always withhold judgment when withhold praise.
The town's not wild about the team, though, at this point.
Well, they're waiting. They're loud on Twitter, but everywhere else, I'm sure. Look, they're a lot more realistic, and they're waiting to see. Again, they've started 10-0. They've had good starts. Sure. They've been ranked. It's November. They're like the old school Dolphins with Marino. Like it's middle to late November and December. Can they get through that? And it's not even the good or bad teams anymore. It's just getting to that part of the year. Can they keep it up for 12, 13 games?
Good curiosity on this one. The other game I'm going to watch with a good deal of interest, and it seems like I'm on the wrong side of both of these. Because I would probably, a very, very loose endorsement for taking the points there with Louisville, based on, I think the Cristobal factor will be the big factor there.
It's going to be big. I'm not saying it's not.
Notre Dame and USC, 9.5. You're getting with USC. USC as the highest scoring team in the nation.
Yeah, they're playing better.
45 points a game. They lost to Illinois. Other than that, I believe they have no other losses on their slate.
They're ranked, and they only have one
loss. Now, top 20. Yeah. I don't know that Notre Dame has beaten up some soft competition since their loss to the University of Miami. They didn't look all that great in that Miami game. The score was closer than it possibly should have been. Again, referencing, it should be just in the footnotes, right, where you put an asterisk. That's where the use of an asterisk is important. Never mind in the record books next to Roger Maris's name. That's a disgrace. But the asterisk should always be placed on any loss when you factor in the Cristobal factor.
Yes.
And that's the only reason that they were close in that game against the University of Miami. Otherwise, they were getting shellacked. Yep. All right, so Notre Dame, I don't know what you make of that. Notre Dame and USC. Any thoughts on that one? It's a great rivalry. It was always a terrific game to attend. I covered many USC Notre Dame games over the years at the Coliseum in L.A., and always enjoyable because I love seeing the Fighting Irish get thumped. Back then, that was happening on a regular basis with USC. Can USC be within 9.5, Lubie, of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in South Bend, my friend.
Oh, it's
Holy Jerry Faust. What are we talking about?
Like, look, Notre Dame's played better since their 2 losses. And again, as people will like to tell you, their 2 losses have come against 2 currently top 5 teams. So it's not like they were slouches, and they were in both games. I mean, the A&M pulled away, but I mean, look, if the young kid doesn't throw that stupid interception, they beat Miami, to be honest with you. So, and they almost still beat Miami if the kid was a little bit more composed that last drive. I lean Notre Dame in that regard still, because USC's played solid and Illinois is okay. They were ranked themselves, or they may still be ranked. I don't know. At home, Notre Dame, it's under 10, and Notre Dame is playing
right there on the cusp.
Ever since the second loss, they've been blooding teams up. So, and Freeman does this. We've seen this. Like, they'll screw around early, and then they start building and building and building and building.
Right.
Yes, you're hearing his name for Penn State. You're hearing his name for Florida. You've heard he's the kind of guy you've heard his name before. I don't think that'll get to him. This feels like Notre Dame will take care of business. USC's always struggled with defense, and at Notre Dame, I don't know. This feels like Notre Dame.
Cover. That's what I'm looking for there. Backdoor cover. Down 16. They score late. They get it 9.
You'll go for the 2, so it's 8.
Another convincing win. Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and meanwhile, you have that Cheshire Cat grin as you are going to the windows to cash, getting 9 in a hook. All right, one final one for you, Lubie. The NFL week number 7 gets underway tonight. I guess we have to cover 2 things here real quickly. Here, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers laying 5.5 to the Joe Flacco-led Cincinnati Bengals. This is the Geezers at Caesars. Aaron Rodgers against Joe Flacco. If this was circa 2012, 2013, you're thinking, wow, what a ball game we have tonight. It's going to be just fireworks and going to be throwing a ball all over the field. Rodgers, you would have to think, has an edge over Flacco. Flacco does have, though, I mean, with his, what is he, 18 years in the league? Joe Flacco out of Delaware State. And he has, I mean, look, what do we got, some T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That's not bad.
No, look, Flacco did they get in the playoffs? Had the Browns
throw the ball, sure.
Had the Browns flirting with the playoffs? Like, Flacco still is decent. It's just Rodgers has sort of found a home. I mean, the Steelers have a good defense, so he doesn't have to try too much. The Steelers are a stable organization, so they don't care about his craziness. They just ignore his weirdness. So he's actually tamped it down, almost like Kyrie Irving, where it's like, well, okay, I guess if no one cares about me being crazy, I guess I'll just stop. Like, it's just the rest of that division is sort of in upheaval. Where it's supposed to be the toughest division in football, arguably, it's now one of the worst outside of the Steelers.
5 and a hook is a big outlay.
It's a big number, but I don't know. And it's Flacco. Flacco just got there this week.
And it's in Cincinnati, too. So this is a road favorite.
I lean Steelers just because Flacco just got there.
Yeah, he had one game so far.
And we know their defense sucks, so that Aaron Rodgers should be able to at least.
That's what I think.
Things. I would lean Steelers.
Steelers, I'm going to say win by 6 points. So I'm going to lay the.
I think 10. They can win by 10. I mean, they're not blowing teams away.
Touchdown better. I believe they're a touchdown better.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, so that's that one. And then the weird one of the day, which I guess we can get into this a little bit more tomorrow, Lubie, but while we have like 10 seconds here. The Dolphins are dogs to the Cleveland Browns. That's a disgrace, isn't it?
Is that weird? I mean, both teams are bad.
Getting 2.5 with Miami. I would be inclined to wager on the Dolphins this week because it's one of those things where the narrative going in is that everything has gone south. They're depicting like the building burning at the Dolphins training facility because of the Tua stuff. I don't know how significant that is. Tua Tagovailoa. Does anybody really care what Tua is saying? I mean, he's speaking in tongues now at these press conferences, partially because of the 7 concussions, and the other part because they're just inexplicably losing every game, although not all of it is on Tua Tagovailoa, as much as people would like to make it seem that way. And if these schlepper guys can't show up to some players-only meeting, and Tua happens to say, yeah, well, I mean, if everybody was on the same page here, we might be doing better. How outrageous is that, really? It's this whole thing about ratting a guy out. Don't ever rat on your teammates. But if they're displaying this kind of losing mentality and a guy happens to point it out in frustration after a loss, I mean, do you crucify a guy for that? There were guys on like Stephen A. Smith's show suggesting that somebody has to come up and crack Tua in the face. Is this where we're at, people? I mean, look, you may not like what he had to say. It wasn't like he didn't mention a few times that, well, I threw 3 picks and that's why we lost.
He's a quarterback. No one's going to punch him in the face. That's and
imagine this.
That's
this was a suggestion of like people watching on talk shows.
That's a domestic.
Got to confront him. Yeah, this is
No,
not.
look, they should confront him, and they should be grown men and talk to each other face to face. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, well, they need to go punch their starting quarterback because that'll make them win more games. Like, what are you doing?
I'm going to take all that BS and say that it's distracting people.
Yeah,
kind of like sending troops into the streets of Chicago.
Exactly.
And it's distracting people from the real issue, which is that the Dolphins are the best, Lubie, 1-5 team in the National Football League. Could
sure.
Be 1-2. Just as easily, they could be 5-1.
Exactly. Whatever.
Right,
That's what I've had that talk my whole life. I'm sick of that talk. They would be. It's like, yeah, well, you're not.
Oh, you lost. Parcells hit it on the head. I don't think you can get any more distinct than this. You are what your record says you are.
I mean, especially the Dolphins.
Right now, that's garbage. All right, Lubie, always a good time.
Yes, sir.
Catch everybody tomorrow. We'll have the professor, a big board, and a lot of fun and festivities on the show tomorrow. And for Mike Lubie Lewitz and Dave Gurggles Gergely, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
I think they win this week. I really do. I can't
They'll probably win. I mean, again, are you going to really? They'll probably get another lead, and they're not going to blow it again. And Jalen Phillips is now in trade talk, so you'll see him play the best game of his freaking life.
Well, I think they're the best 1-5 team.
All these guys are on the trade table, so usually you want to play really well to get your market up.
You want to go somewhere where you can win.
We'll see them like dominate this week.
Imagine writing a love letter to Chris Greer as you exit the Dolphins.
Like, thank God. Thank God.
Thank you so much, Chris, for the opportunity, and go bleep yourself. It's 9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to